applications in front of the board, one for 54 North Main, one for the Stage 3 we've talked about at Shippey's. They've asked for an adjournment, so we'll push that one down. On 54 North Main, I'm going to save that to the end because I have to recuse myself from that like I did last time. So what I'd like to do first is approve our schedule for 2025. Which I think you circulated to everyone,
Yes,
right?
so I distributed a draft to everyone.
Right.
That had dates of typically the first and third Mondays of the month. You'll notice for January, the first date was the 6th. I think with the holidays, it would probably be hard for people to make that date in the submission deadlines.
Yeah.
And we won't have a memo on the one pending application by that date. So I suggested that the board might want to consider, I think February, is it February 3rd?
3rd.
As the next date?
Okay.
Yeah,
so
so
we'll
the
take this out.
6th will postpone or cancel. The 20th is a holiday of January. That's the
Right.
3rd.
It's King Day, yeah.
Yeah, that's the 3rd Monday. So the next one would be February 3rd. And then the 17th of February is a holiday also.
Correct.
So our only meeting for the next 2 months will be
February 3rd.
February 3rd. Okay?
Yes, and then it's up to the board if you want to meet once or twice a month.
And we canceled Labor Day. I mean,
Is it possible
on
to
Monday
meet
or
only
Labor Day, we
once?
canceled.
It's really up to the board. I know we've canceled meetings in the past because the caseload recently has been relatively low. So if we wanted to schedule once for now, we could add another meeting as needed, or if you want to schedule only up until March, and then we could reassess what the board's caseload looks like.
I like the idea
It's
of
up to
the
the board.
third week of each month. That's, if we were to cancel one, that would be the first. Would that,
Well, let's do this. Let's set an agenda of February 3rd,
Yep.
March 10th, and March 3rd, and March, what's the 17th is, St. Patrick's Day, that's not a holiday.
I'm not going to be able to do March 3rd.
Okay,
That's one
so-
that, it's, that's just on an ad hoc, we
And,
can discuss.
and if
right?
there, right, and if there's not enough, if there's no agenda for those, then we'll, but our public schedule will be those 3 dates for the first 3
Okay.
months, okay?
So which
February
dates?
3rd, March 3rd.
And March
February, wait,
17th.
And March
February
7th.
3rd, March, and March 7th, okay. And then we can
I
discuss.
took mine home earlier.
So, a motion to
At the end.
April
Adopt
21st is Easter.
a schedule
Yeah.
for the
Easter
planning
Monday, right, for
board
Easter.
of February
That'll
3rd,
be tough.
March 3rd, and March 17th. Okay, for the next 3 months. Is there a second?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, guys,
Aye.
gentlemen. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Right, everybody? Okay.
Yes.
So that's when the next, yeah. Next on our agenda would be to approve there's 1 minutes that we still need to approve, right? The last meeting.
The
Everybody?
minutes of September 16th, I believe.
Yes, so a motion to approve the minutes from September 16th.
So,
Second?
Second.
Thank you. In favor?
Aye.
Okay. That's all I had in general. 54 Main Street, do we want to do that one now?
Hey, if that's,
Okay.
all- if that's it.
Before the board does that, there's a couple of applications that we just don't have any submissions on.
Yeah.
So now that we have the schedule, the board might want to formally adjourn those to the next meeting.
Which are,
Let's take a look.
Yep.
The Connemara application has already been adjourned to, it says February 3rd. So I
And-
believe that will be, let me just double check. Yep, so that'll be the February 3rd meeting. We'll discuss Main Street tonight. We don't have any new submissions for 22 Windmill Lane. I believe they asked
Yep.
for an adjournment. We haven't heard any update on 20 to 30 County Road 39A. That's still pending in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yep.
And we haven't heard an update on the site plan for 74 White Street. I believe that's still pending Health Department approval.
okay, so Connemara
Connemara.
is already adjourned to the 3rd, correct?
And then also there's a new site plan application at 36 Windmill Lane for Shippey's that's asked for an adjournment as well to the next
All
meeting.
right, so motion to adjourn 22 Windmill, 20 to 30 County Road 39, 74 White Street, and 36
Windmill Lane.
Windmill Lane to our February 3rd meeting. Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
On Connemara,
Connemara's already been adjourned.
I know, on
Yep.
Connemara, the building commissioner approved it a long time ago. Counsel for Connemara says pending the building commissioner's approval, but he said he needs a brief technical review. It's absolutely plain vanilla by the ZBA, I think. But the owner is usually offshore and comes for a couple of weeks in the summer, so it's on vacancy holding until it gets moved.
Until the owner appears in the summer, or
The owner has
until
to
we
make-
hear
Owner
otherwise?
has to make appearances. She generally comes in the end of the summer.
And what's
It's a flag lot.
Chris's issue?
It's a flag lot which needs to be slightly adjusted, routine, plenty of room and plenty of room to go back and everything. It needs to be adjusted with approval by the ZBA.
So I'm not so sure. That's the one where it's a conforming lot and a non-conforming
No,
lot?
it can-
And now they
both
want to
conf-
do
no,
both?
They both conform. It's just a question of moving a line. But I'm
Did
told,
we just lose our feed?
Well, yeah, when we get all the
But that's-
facts,
but
yeah,
that's-
we'll,
but you know, but it's on hold.
yeah, it's on hold.
It's on hold for just process reasons. It's just not,
But is it your view that that's going to appear before the planning board or not?
you never can tell.
Okay,
So probably not.
okay,
We just have to approve what the ZBA says.
okay. Alex, anything else before I
the
recuse
board-
myself out the back door?
I believe the board approved the
Coming
minutes.
back.
Yeah, we approve the minutes.
Okay, yep, so I think that's the only other item pending on the agenda.
Okay. There you go, sir.
Okay, Liz, here we go. All right. We're so crowded, we can call council up to talk to us about
Exactly.
this.
Ms. Vale, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Good evening, board members.
Nice to
Liz.
still have you on the case.
Thank you. I'm Liz Vale, Greenberg Traurig, 2317 Montauk Highway in Bridgehampton, for the applicant North Main LLC for the property located at 54 North Main Street in Southampton. The board recalls this is a proposed minor two-lot subdivision at 54 North Main Street, which is comprised of 1.67 acres or 72,740 square feet. We're located in a split zone, R20 and R7.5 zoning districts. The existing 5,300 square foot office building in the front is located in the R20 zoning district, with the zoning district line running along the back of the office, and then the back property, which is proposed lot 1, is improved with a pre-existing non-conforming wood shop, and it's zoned R7.5. Proposed lot 1 is comprised of 40,000 square feet, well over the 7,500 square foot requirement in R7.5, and the proposed front lot 2 is 32,740 square feet. Those numbers might be a little different on my newest plan. I'll double check. Again, though, well above the 20,000 square foot requirement. We did submit a yield map to the planning board way back when. I would just remind the board this application did start in 2020.
Yep.
And a negative declaration was adopted by the board on September 8th, 2020. And then we received sketch plan approval. There was a subsequent sketch plan approval because the first one did expire. They're only valid for 6 months, so it makes it hard to comply with that. And we were caught between the ZBA and the planning board approvals. Eventually, we did get a sketch plan approval again, updated, file number 2200, and it was dated June 15th, 2024. We then went back to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and we got our Zoning Board of Appeals approval in October of 2024. And those approvals match the plan that's now before the board. And we did update our plan in response to some comments from the planner, or engineer rather. I think the village engineer with respect to drainage calculations and drainage information put on the plan as well. So we're hoping we had to resubmit our sketch plan. We are still before the Suffolk County Department of Health Services. We do not have our final approval for you there yet. But because the sketch plan is only valid for 6 months, we had to submit our final application to make sure we continued the application process.
Okay. Our wonderful new advisor, are you she?
I am her. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Yes, I'm Lisa
Welcome
Brickworth.
aboard.
Thank you.
Nice to have you
Welcome.
on our team. This is very nice.
Yes, hopefully, maybe one time I'll get to come in person.
Oh, sure, we look forward to seeing you, but she gave us a memorandum which I read, which Liz points out that this still is, it's a real accommodation, because I guess the applicant or the applicant's father or whoever, the applicant of Carl Industries, has this building that was enlarged in its history a little bit to the south, as you look at it, to the right. So it's a pretty narrow entrance, and we knew that in 2020.
We
Well,
got variances for that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's all teed up. It's
Yeah.
but I have to observe that it's a pretty narrow entrance for lots of reasons.
Mm.
And I think I was temporarily the chairman of this committee for all sorts of irrelevant reasons. I think in 2020, the application came to me as chairman. It was before Roy left. I forget what it was, and to be elected a trustee of the village. And it was a concern, but it was the best thing to do at the time. And some of us have historical memory going way back to when the building was first built and to the building behind it, which was used for construction. And some of us have a recollection for the whole lot behind it. This is a great improvement for the lot behind it. When you were probably not practicing yet, it was a big area of dispute for animals and relatives of the then mayor, all sorts of stuff from that area. Okay. We're emburdened with the historical history of all that. Our wonderful advisor points out that for access in and out of that, there's a pretty narrow strip. It's about 18 feet. It's less, quote, less than regulation, but it just squeezes by the hedge right against it to go back. If you park in the back, which is later a more modern addition from when it was first constructed, if you park in the back, the only way into the building is to walk down that strip and around to and go into the front. There's appears to be no rear access into most of the sublet apartments that are occupied, the offices, not apartments, in the front. And so it's a recommendation that we draw that observation and find out if you can deal with your client to get access so that traffic doesn't have to walk down to the North Main Street and come in the front. But it's just, it doesn't
mean
appear
walk
to be
down?
rear access.
Yeah.
Do you mean walk down the driveway?
Yeah, the issue is walking on the driveway.
You gotta go around the
And-
driveway to the front.
And an active driveway, people using that as without a sidewalk is probably a problem.
Yeah.
So
It's just-
pedestrian.
It's just,
Yeah.
we love the driveway, as opposed to what was before with an easement. This is very important.
It's been in place since 1976,
the Yeah. same
driveway.
No, but the point is, if you have a house behind it, you have residential use of the house, of the driveway, do you have to, how do you deal with people coming and going, plus cars coming in and out of the driveway? No, to the new use in the back of the property. The house is
If it's
being
not
built.
vehicles, it's just a question if it's not vehicles. The vehicles, they go and they park and they walk around. I guess they don't care. They come in the front door. And the other vehicles go to the shop in the back where the guys used to cut the wood. It was a
Well, if I
wood
can
cutting
ask,
shop.
the fact that the property behind will become residential, that will cut down substantially on the amount of
Oh,
traffic
yeah.
going back and forth.
Much
So that's
better.
what I understand.
commercial traffic.
And
No,
having,
much- yeah, much better.
I've driven to the site, I've looked around, and I can see that, yes, there is the driveway, and it does have a mirror, so you can see coming and going. I wonder if the applicant could put signage, active driveway, if the parking in the back that faces the building, there are several doors that you can enter the building from the back. Maybe those could be expanded for pedestrian use in some way, things like that. It seems to me that certainly you'd want to keep people off that driveway, but anyone who bought that house would be aware of that. So do you think that the applicant's willing to do some things
Well-
like that to make signage and?
I think that
Those
shouldn't
doors.
be a problem. I think, yeah, I mean, 100%, that should not be a problem. We can do whatever signage you feel. We did have the driveway completely checked by the fire marshal to make
Oh, yeah.
sure.
You could get a truck in there.
Yeah, that you
Oh,
can get
yeah.
a truck in there and that would be safe.
Can any of those
It's
doors?
25 feet here, 18 feet at its most narrow point here and here. This, with respect to the doors, there's two front accesses to the front of this, which is obviously where the public is supposed to enter the offices
Oh,
here.
yeah.
So there's one access here and another access here.
Can we see that on the, on the,
The only
What she's
issue was,
referring to, 'cause
with
I
our
don't
plan,
see
our
it.
planning
She's
advisor
pointing-
said rear access from the parking lot.
you mean the plan, or-
People park.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
back.
I mean, what she's-
Employees
oh, over
generally
there.
park in the
Okay.
back, and there's access
Absolutely.
there, but we can look into
Yes.
that. I don't really, we've been doing this since.
Is it rear access?
There's no
There are doors in the
public
back?
rear access, it's really just employee, there's
But
door
There is
accesses, yeah.
employee, okay.
Yeah, you guys can go check it
Yeah.
out if you want to.
Oh, yeah, no, that's good.
Or the planner
I
can.
have,
Yeah.
but I'm curious about that second row parking. Probably there'd be fewer people parking there when the workshop, the wood shop isn't
Possibly,
active,
but
right?
these are generally for the employees who
Right,
actually
right,
work here.
exactly.
And then the public comes in and parks here. I've
Mhm.
parked here many times.
But if
Yeah,
someone
I mean,
were
there
in
was
the
a
back
dentist here I
parking,
used to go
yeah,
to.
if people were in the back, there are doors into the structure. Could
Yes.
one be a designated way that people who park can get into the building and signage that says do not use driveway, active driveway or something like that, just to make it safer? I guess that's the main thing, is the
But
safety
is it clear, is
concern.
it clear that they have access to the full building from the back? Is that the case or not?
I mean, the employees, I believe, have access to the
Looked
back.
like there were 3
There are
doors.
park- there are
I haven't been
employees
there, I
that
don't know,
park
Yeah,
I'm
it
back
looked
just
like
asking.
there were
That's why I'm
quite a few
asking.
doors. But it is a
building-
narrow
You may
driveway.
know,
Those
I'm
doors
just
is
asking.
right here,
They build an
here,
extension
and
to the
here.
back, too.
And I think
This is
here.
been-
So
Okay.
this has been in its configuration, the same configuration, been safely used since
Couple of decades.
1976.
Couple of
So the
decades.
idea that, we're not here for a site plan, obviously, we're happy
Right.
to accommodate you with signage and
Mhm.
anything that can help make the driveway safer.
Mhm.
And certainly you're gonna require a shared driveway easement as well, for the flag lot, so all of that will be in there too. But,
Okay.
I don't know about, like, reconstructing things on the building itself. Cause then all of a sudden you have to go to site plan, and that's not what's before the board, subdivision
No,
is.
no, it's not
So,
bad.
Listen, it looked like the handicap parking spaces are relocated. Can you show on the board, on the plan, how those work, how they're proposed to work right now?
well, they're here and here,
Yeah, two there.
so I have to figure out how that's proposed to work.
Yeah,
'Cause generally, they're over here.
right, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what wasn't clear, because it didn't
Yeah.
seem like there was a public entrance
right.
there.
Yeah, I agree, we have to address that.
I don't care, but somebody will tell me for sure. There's a guy that shows up time to tell us we're not doing it properly.
Of course.
They come.
Well, no, we wanna do it properly,
No, they
100%.
come.
Yeah.
I don't,
It's not a record. The people have said that we should tell you, Liz, you gotta get the Carls to take this goddamn building out and build 2 houses. We got all sorts of
Sorry about
suggestions.
that,
I know
Mr.
that's not your
McFarland.
business.
That's not the
It's not a
application.
record, and there are other people that say, at least they take away the old extension and shorten it, and the driveway's a detail.
Well, let's just stick
But
with what
that's
we
not a
have in
record.
front of
That's
us
not
right
Right.
your
now. That would
application.
be,
I've been
That's
doing
not
this
what's
since
before us.
2020,
The
and-
land is landlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
it's
well,
already
no,
been
it's-
determined, basically,
There's a lot
what
of
the
good-
access will
there's a
be
lot
for
of
the
good
second
features.
residential area,
Right,
so
but it's not
that's not
landlocked.
before. Oh,
There's
you know what I
access
mean, though,
here.
but it's,
Yeah.
I'm saying that is the path to the lot that has been
Back-
brought forward, and
Right.
that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, and that path, again, has existed since 1976
Mhm.
without
Yep.
issue, so, I don't know, and we're reducing the impact of traffic, so I don't know that we would need to.
It was wider.
So you intend to move the handicap to the front?
I'm not sure, I really do have to address that with our designer, because that's a good question.
because on the north side of the building, I think, is it 6.4 is the closest
Yes.
dimension?
Yes,
I wonder.
that's what we got the variances for.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, maybe to address some of the board's concern, if there's an opportunity to put a sidewalk around the building on that side, that might
Okay.
address some of that. That might be a way to
Yeah.
accommodate.
Okay. So we have to address the handicap spaces for sure. And the sidewalk possibly by the 6.4 setback on
Yeah,
the north
if-
side of the building.
Right, if it sounds like the rear entrances are only employees, that might be another consideration, if the public were to park back there.
Right.
Could they
Well,
be
you'll-
expanded to
Here.
allow
You'll
entrance
wrap
to
it around.
anyone
Yeah,
You'll have to
parking?
adjust
just a
for construction,
suggestion,
that's all.
rather
Okay.
than having people walk through the driveway, since we know that's potentially a concern.
Yeah, instead of having it over here,
Right,
right, because this is 0 right there.
right, 'cause, yeah, I don't think a
There's no
sidewalk
room.
could be accommodated
No.
there.
No.
So the idea would be, I'm sorry, I missed that, to
It's pretty
accommodate the
tight.
sidewalk to
On the north
the,
side.
You put on the north side.
how much
Essentially to
room
connect
is there?
The
Fine with
rear
me.
and front
Yeah.
parking
Yeah,
lots.
it's up here.
There's
It'd be
6.4.
fine.
Is this
They
the
could
current
put it
one?
here.
Yeah, that's an extension of the driveway. That was built later.
That would be fine. I think that would be perfectly fine.
That was built later. It's behind the doctor's office, I think.
Do you think that
Doctor's use.
the owner
What
of
other
the,
issues do you have, Alex?
would the owner of the property allow
We
public to go through the
talked
Quarrel
about a buffer
Brothers
in the
or
back.
one of
Does
the,
that-
to
you
get
wanna
to the
just
front?
To get to the
raise
front,
that
I can
issue?
ask.
Sure.
No, I'm just wondering, because
You
this
wanna
is
raise
if
it?
public, but the
Well,
public
yeah.
could park in the front, and that would alleviate all the problem.
I'll ask about that.
Our,
That's-
our advisor said there should be maybe some detail in it of what buffer will exist between a residential lot and this commercial lot in
Okay,
the back, you know,
sure,
calls one of the guys up in.
like an evergreen or something you'd want to see.
Hey, I don't do trees, but a lot of guys make a living, big living out of here
Yeah,
doing
that's-
trees.
I imagine there'll be a substantial buffer, just,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Right.
yes,
Currently, there is a fence,
right.
but perhaps
Yeah,
something
but
green
other-
that
Yeah.
would screen it out.
Vegetated
in
screen.
Other than
addition-
huge courtesies to build the house and get all the equipment
Okay.
back there.
Okay,
Right.
great.
I think that's it.
And since we know the property is zoned residential, potentially language could be included that if the front lot was developed residentially, that buffer would no longer be a requirement. But it's usually a best practice to screen commercial and residence, if we're gonna have two different uses here.
I imagine anyone who, purchases that lot would want to see a buffer, but
Yeah.
absolutely,
It seems like a good policy.
that seems like a
think-
great idea.
What we would typically have in the code, wherever we have residential and commercial districts joining, is I believe a fence, a 6-foot stockade fence with 50 feet of landscaping, or whatever can be accommodated. So if you can use that
Separ-
potentially as a guideline.
Separation of uses.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we would see throughout the village. For example, like on County Road 39, we saw that at the Buzz Chew application where we have that separation. Sorry, bad example. But that's where.
Maintenance of separation, that gets to be an issue.
And typically that's accommodated on the commercial side of the property, where I think you'd probably have plenty of room based on the way the lot lines are proposed to be drawn.
I guess it would depend on the language, but
Yeah.
yes, I see exactly what you're talking about. Like a transition.
Yeah, maybe if that could
Buffer.
be shown on the plan, and then I write a buffer easement of something.
We're talking about on the back lot line.
The
right?
back,
Right.
The one that separates the north and the south lots.
Correct.
to separate it.
Not on the side.
Essentially
but on
between the
back.
lot line and the end of the commercial parking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So council's listened to everything, and he can draw up our approval accurately. Maybe we can tell you to go ahead, subject to these things
Yeah,
getting
is
done
it
and
approval
before
subject
us.
to, or would you?
Well, we
I still
can,
need Suffolk County Department of Health Services approval.
Well,
we need health department,
So we
and we
wait.
definitely need to work out the ADA compliant parking space, which I'm sure that
Mhm.
you and your surveyor can handle easily. So as a procedural note, we handled secra already, correct?
I think
Yes.
we
I
did.
had to, I
Or
had
was that
looked at
handled
the
it-
sketch
Oh, I'm
plan.
sorry, I have it right here I'm just looking at the ZBA.
When I looked at,
decision.
Yeah, I had
So
looked
for
at
the
recent
ZBA
sketch plans,
was
but
a
it
type
sounds
2
like they
action,
do
I believe.
themselves.
So just procedurally, we have 62 days from receipt of this completed plat application to hold our public hearing if we so want. And then from that public hearing, the close of that public hearing, we then have another 62-day clock to make our final decision.
Did we have a public hearing on the?
I've had
well,
so
we
many
had
public
one-
hearings.
Not on the
I have to tell you.
final.
So we're at the final
I've had
plat
like
stage.
8 public hearings. I don't
So
know.
because it's a minor subdivision, this jumps from sketch plan directly to final plat.
Okay.
For major
Okay.
subdivisions like the one on
I know.
Wickapog Road, obviously, we have that
Mhm.
intermediary preliminary plat. But in this case, we jump right to final.
I thought
And-
this presently constituted board had a public hearing that you ran several months ago, at least one, a modern one on
Yeah.
this current re-squeeze of getting the road back, getting the driveway back.
So then what's next procedurally? Shall we just schedule the next meeting, find out what progress has been made, and then
Absolutely.
move
and
forward?
It doesn't sound like
Okay.
there's much of a heavy lift.
No.
And
So.
it's up to the board whether they want to continue a work session or if they feel they want to schedule the next meeting as the public hearing.
That's at the discretion of the board, unless you would like to wait until we see the final plat with
Well,
ADA
if
compliance.
This has had, if there,
Okay.
you know, if the board would consider waiving a public hearing, I'd appreciate it, only because this has been before, you know, every board multiple
People have
times.
showed- oh,
I
yeah,
think I
yeah.
had 2 years of public hearings before ZBA. There were like,
ZBA, that's a
ZBA,
different-
there
yeah,
were like 6 appearances, but at public
different
hearings.
deal, yeah.
And everyone that came in support of this application.
Oh,
But-
yeah. At least one of them came before us.
Yeah, that's right. One person came before you as well.
I remember the
Should
lady
we vote
sitting right
or
there.
on that then, whether to hold a public hearing or not, or?
You could do that now, or you could wait until we discuss this at the next meeting with the amended plan with the buffer and with the ADA compliant parking spaces and addressing the pedestrian issues. What else did we mention tonight? Signage.
I have 4
or-
things, landscape buffer area
Well,
between the 2
if that all
lots.
shows up,
Yeah.
Suffolk County won't beat us, but we can meet and even waive the public hearing if it's all done.
Does
And
our code
it's the
give the
sense
board
of-
ability to waive public hearing for subdivision? I know they do for site plan, but I wasn't sure if that appears in subdivision.
generally we don't waive it for site plan.
No, but we've had at least one public hearing on this,
On the sketch plan,
on
yes.
this current version of building the house in the back. At least one here
Correct.
for maybe you weren't on the board
It
by
was not,
then,
no.
but it was just before you, well, it was just pretty recent. I think you
Mhm.
were appointed by then.
Yeah, I think so.
We'd had at least one. So that maybe that's enough
Yes.
jurisdiction to, if Suffolk County comes
Yes.
through,
We'll
you-
move it
you'll
ahead.
save your evening. Okay, council?
So, just for the board's edification, I'm looking at 9733 and 9733D to be exact. The planning board shall hold a public hearing on the final plat within 62 days of receipt of the complete final plat submission. Such notice of such public hearing shall be given as prescribed by 9713F. So, given that it's using the obligatory shall, I would counsel board that we should hold the
Okay.
public hearing out of
All
an
right.
abundance of caution, even if it's at this point kind of rhetorical. We've had public input already, but just looking at the black letter law of the code.
Sure,
All right.
bless you.
Proceed to the 3rd of February.
So when is the next meeting?
It would be for February 3rd.
And we could have the public hearing then?
That should give us enough time. There's a
Yeah,
little bit
if-
more
if-
notice than,
If it's
but
all
that should
organized,
give us,
that
that should give us enough time.
your
Okay.
advisors, it's,
Thank you so much.
finish the 3rd of February is our next target.
Do they need to make a motion to set the public hearing?
Yes, I would do a motion, if you are ready to set the public
Okay.
hearing and you don't,
The 3 of us will entertain a motion that we will mutually adjourn this matter until the 3rd of February with an eye to having a complete application and a public hearing.
I second.
well, hold on, with an eye for the public hearing or to have the public
have.
hearing? So we should probably couch it more certainly with,
Hey,
set this for public hearing on.
council, write it carefully in the minutes. We're gonna have, if she gets it already, with the stuff we've discussed, we'll have a public hearing on the matter as required on the 3rd of February.
Well, we can also, just for edification, even if it's not for whatever reason complete, we can hold the public hearing open for a reasonable amount of time if there's still certain
will
things
be,
that
don't
need to
worry.
be,
Mhm.
that need to
If
be
there's a problem,
addressed.
we'll solve it,
Okay.
okay?
So we're setting it down for public hearing for February 3,
3,
correct?
Feb.
February 3.
3. Okay, it's been seconded.
Yes.
Votes?
All right.
The ayes have it.
Thank you so much, board members.
Thank you very
No
much.
Have a great
abstentions?
holiday.
Thank
Be
you.
well. Have a good
This
holiday.
is your map, so I won't steal it.
Thanks. I'll put it back in the file.
Thank you. All right, does Mark want to, if he doesn't want to come back,
Welcome back. Okay.
we'll make some changes and have a public hearing on the 3rd of, he says it'll be ready the 3rd of February.
I think they're talking about putting a sidewalk on the north, I mean, on the opposite side, the side opposite the driveway.
On the north
Where
side.
there's
Oh, great.
room
That's a
for it,
good
and they're
idea.
gonna put in, I think it's all fine.
Good, okay. Any other business for the planning board?
Mark, we're just, we're joined by Lisa, Rick was our consultant. I don't know if you got an opportunity to say hi.
Hello, Lisa.
I think it might be our first meeting here at the planning board.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if there's no other business, motion to
here
adjourn.
she is.
Yeah, hi, Lisa.
Thank you for
He's
joining us.
back, he
thank
was
you.
abstaining slightly.
If there's no other business, motion to adjourn. Second?
Well, I'll second it.
Yep. Okay, all in favor?
I
Thank you very much. Everyone have a very
Thank
nice
you.
holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.